and that's when we thought that it would be great to have a webinar which can give them the exact way to decide how should they go forward with their mobile strategies and roadmap. And then we came up with 5 key things which we think are most important for managers, decision makers, and CIOs to know before starting to invest in the mobile space. And before I show you the 5 important things there, I would like to give you some facts and figures about the mobile industry. Well, all of us actually by now know that mobile is here to stay, and there are industries like retail and entertainment who are already reaping the benefits of being the first comers there. So at this point in time, I don't think it's really required to justify why we should get into the mobile space. A lot of us already know about it and have studied a lot about it, but still I would like to cover a few key facts here so you know where the industry stands as of now. So according to McKinsey, almost 500 million people are started using the mobile, both the smartphones and the tablets, for accessing the web, and also doing a lot of other activities like playing around with the apps and using the app. So a lot of internet users are now from the mobile space, and Gartner has predicted that the number of users accessing the internet using the smartphones and the tablets would actually surpass the PC internet users by 2013. And there are a lot of other studies which actually state that can happen much before that. And if you look at today, 60% of the time which a user actually spends on a smartphone or tablet phone, it's apart from the conventional thing of phone calls, SMS, and chats, 60% of the time they actually spend on browsing the web, playing around with the apps and the social network. So they are doing much more on the mobile phone than what we usually used to do, and that's why social networking is also considered one of the biggest factors why mobile growth is accelerating at this point in time. And if you look at it, Google has already crossed $1 billion in revenue just in mobile search, and there are companies like AdMobs, InMobi, iAd, and Radium One, which are in the mobile ad network space, generating revenue of millions of dollars. And in US alone, for 2010, the revenue which came out of mobile ad is around 650 million. So that says a lot. And companies like Radium One are actually building platform which can study your behavior in a social environment and try to do targeted marketing using your behavior. So that's their platform which is coming up. And again, the AdMobs, which is bought over by Google, and iAd, which is managed by Apple, they're spending enormous amount of money in building the platforms which is going to serve millions and millions of users. And to talk about m-commerce, which is the heart of mobile business, ABI Research has estimated around $120 billion in m-commerce revenue by 2015, and eBay has already made about $2 billion in 2010, and is estimating around $4 billion out of revenue out of m-commerce in 2011, this fiscal year. So that's some of the facts. I think this predominantly tells you that why you need to mobile enable your current websites. How do you actually need to engage with your consumers on mobile, and how you can use mobile as an additional channel for growing your business. So here are the top 5 things which we think a CIO should be aware of, the managers and the decision makers should be aware of in a business. to make an effective call when it comes to mobile roadmap and strategy. So one of them is the native app and the web app. How do you basically decide based on the industry you are in, whether should you build a native application or should you build a mobile web application? We'll go in detail about what is a native and what is mobile and how do you decide on that. But that's one question which always arises when you try to plan your mobile roadmaps. And the other thing, the usability factor, which is one of the key factors which will determine the traffic on your mobile sites or mobile application. And getting this right is very, very important. And how do you actually channelize additional revenue and sustain your current revenue using your mobile channel? How do you make your current consumers more loyal to you? So that's in leveraging mobile as a growth channel. And then the enterprise security when it comes to intranet-based application, when the employees of an organization start accessing the internal ERP systems on a mobile, what kind of mobile security measures you need to take to make sure that the data is all secure and there is no kind of malware or spywares which are creating problems and causing losses of millions of dollars when it comes to confidential data. And the last one is the organizational buy-in. So if you're the mobile manager or e-commerce or m-commerce manager and you are given the responsibility to make a decision on mobile roadmap, how do you actually go about within an organization selling your mobile strategies? How do you get buy-ins from it? How do you get support from your IT staff? How do you get support from your top management? So that's what we're going to cover in that particular section. So essentially, these are the 5 important areas which are going to be part of this presentation. And Bill is going to handle the organization buy-in thing and leveraging mobile as a growth channel. And I'll be taking care of the rest of the 3. So native versus mobile web. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of it, but still I'll just give you a quick brief about it. What is the key differentiator between a native app versus a web app? A native app basically communicates directly with the operating system, resides on the mobile phone, and it's an installable application which you download from any of the app stores like the Apple One or the Android. The mobile web app is accessible through the mobile browser, which are available in almost all the phones which are coming out in the market now. So you directly access your mobile website using the native browser, which is part of the mobile, or you can also have a third-party browser installed on it and try to access your mobile site. So that's the primary difference between what is a native and a mobile web. And I'm going to show you some good comparison between native apps and the mobile web apps. There are companies who have their native application as well as they have their presence on the mobile website. So I have taken a few examples there trying to showcase how different these applications are and what are the current trends in the market. Is the market trying to get towards the native side or towards the website of it, or possibly trying to get into both of it? And then how is HTML5 is going to transform this whole thing? What has it got to do, and how is that going to help the mobile website of it? And what are the different development environments which you need to get accustomed to if you want to build application for each of these platforms? And a brief idea about what it would cost for an organization to build a native app versus a mobile app. So these are the things we're going to cover as part of this topic. And as you can see on your screen, I have just pulled up a Facebook app. They have a presence both on the mobile web and as a native app. The one on the left is basically the mobile app, which comes as m.facebook.com, and on the right is the native app. Looks a lot different from each other. If you look at the native app here, they're using the icon-based grid here to actually get into each of these features. But if you look at the website of it, they have this more link here, which pretty much displays all these apps, all these different features which are available. The key difference being here is the notification, the push notifications, which would work on a native app, but not on a mobile web app. Right. So even if your iPhone or Android is on a sleep mode, you can get a push notification, which is like whenever somebody sends you a message or somebody is like liked your message, you automatically get a push notification and a beep sound on your mobile phone, which is the key advantage of having a native app versus a web app. And here's another one from JCPenney. If you look at the website of it, they have this catalog menu right out here, and if you look at the native side of it, they have the key features right at the bottom at the top as a tab, which has the shop. If you click on that, it essentially shows you the catalog, the favorites, and the store locator, which is one of the key features of native apps is location-based services, which again is not possible on a web application. So it would, the moment you click on the store locator, it will automatically find out the nearest store of JCPenney and display that to you, which is basically a built-in feature of the device done using GPS. So so the other one is the Groupon app. It looks pretty much the same, both the web and the native part of it. And again, for some reason, Groupon, I did not see the location-based services. You have to choose the cities manually, and then, but it still has notification services. So whenever there is a new offer which comes in, automatically you get a notification on your mobile phone. Whereas on the website of it, you got to get inside the application and see if there are new offers which has come in. Fine. So then you have the Best Buy. The screen pretty much looks different here. The native side is the catalog side of it, and the website actually shows you the list of products, weekly ads, and stores. Again, the key difference being the location-based services on both sides of it. So now, so does that mean that the web application cannot do certain things what the native application does? To answer this question, I would like to show you some of the features which are very device specific, and then possibly talk about how you can still achieve some of this using a web application. So these are some of the key features which are very, very device specific. Like the camera, you don't have an option to actually interact with the camera APIs using your web application. You cannot access your, say, contact books, which is a native app of mobile. You cannot try to access those contacts and push it and pull through on a web application. Though there are in iPhone 4.02, they have actually released, opened up the APIs for accelerometer, which means that you can now have the motion control even on your web application. And then the SMS part of it, yes, if you can access, you can read all of the SMS, send SMSs using your native app, but you cannot do that on a web app. The geolocation, again, not accessible on the web application, and the files part of it, if you're actually trying to store any kind of data locally as an offline data on the device, you would be able to do that using a native application, not on trying to do a web application. Having said all of that, there's HTML5 into picture, HTML5 and CSS3, which promises a lot. And right now, HTML5 and iOS 4.0 already started supporting accelerometer. But then the projection is that another couple of years, all of these different device level capabilities will be available to the HTML5 as well, which means that if you're developing a web application, you would still be able to access the geolocations. You can still maneuver around with the local files, add data, edit or delete your data on your mobile phones, access the camera directly from a web application, and all of these device levels be able to access using HTML5. But then it's a long way to go. Some of the manufacturers, like some of the OS, I mean the Android and the iPhone, they're all working on it to make these features available on a web application, and the web consortium is also working to make sure that these features can be part of HTML5. But as I said, there's like a couple more years to go where we can have access to all of that. Having said that, a lot of applications may not require device level features, so that's one important aspect which will help you whether to go for native or web. So if you want any of these features which are displayed on the screen, the geolocations or the accelerometers or the camera for your app, then essentially you need to have a native application. If you have tried to do it on a web and you still want a geolocation, you'll have to have the user enter the zip code rather than trying to dynamically identify that. So these are different platforms which are available in the market. Assume that you actually want to develop a native app and you want to try to build an app for all your platforms because you are in the retail industry and you want to get maximum exposure to the consumers. And so if you want to build an iPhone app, you'll have to go with Objective-C and try to develop an application on that. And then if you want to build on an Android, you'll have to go with Java, Android SDKs. BlackBerry would be J2ME and RIM APIs, and Windows Mobile would be .NET technology. So if you see, these are 4 different platforms which are in the market, and iPhone and Android being pretty close. Of course, Android has overtaken in terms of number of OSs getting installed. But you essentially have to go around with 4 different technology, 4 different code base to have native apps in each of these platforms. Whereas if you build say HTML application, a mobile web page, you essentially develop once using HTML5 and CSS3, and you can use your server-side code of your choice. So if you already have a website presence and it's developed in .NET, usually organization would try to develop a mobile website in .NET. Or if you are in Drupal and PHP, people would prefer to have a Drupal and PHP. So does that mean that you actually just develop one application on HTML5 and it starts working seamlessly in all the platforms? Not necessarily. You will have to tweak around and render the HTML code depending on the device which is trying to access your web page, right? But essentially you will be able to group all the output. For example, for touch-based screen, you can have a similar looking UI for say a keyboard-based mobile phones trying to access. You can have a similar kind of UI, but you will have to render your HTML based on the user agent, the mobile user agent, and then dynamically push the HTML code back to the browser. but in comparison to developing them, all of them native, this essentially is lesser work, and it would cost less as well. So how do I decide whether you want to go with native or web? It's not a single formula which would suit all the business. It just depends on what you're trying to achieve. If you're in a retail industry trying to target consumers, you want to have maximum touch points with the consumer. So you would go with both native on all platforms and also try to build your web application. But assume if you're in, say, a publishing industry and you don't have brick and mortar business, and you don't operate in store all over the world, you definitely don't need features like geolocations and stuff, and you can still manage the entire thing just by having a browser-based application, but rendering differently for an iPad versus an Android smartphone. So it's not one formula fitting all. You basically have to decide on that. And I'll show you what are the key parameters at the end of this particular native app versus mobile. I'll show you what are the questions you can ask yourself to decide that. But before we get into that, these are the current trends. Global Intelligence Alliance has done a study with a few of the organizations, and the current trends are around 35% respondents have said that they have apps on both the interfaces. The web application only are around 22%, and the native application are around 44%. So as you can see, most of the respondents have like native applications, but as I said, it's not one formula fitting all. So you will have to basically decide on which one you want to choose. And the same respondents were asked the question, how do they see the trend in the future, and say around 23% said that they'll have to wait and watch and see how it goes. But about 30%, which is the highest here, says that they will have equal focus on both native versus web. And if you look at the retail industry today, take like the top 20 retail companies, and you will see that majority of them have a web or a native app. And almost all of them are heading towards building on both the platforms, and that includes tablets as well. And there you see the equal number both on like the web and the native apps. Greater focus on web around 23%, greater focus on native around 24%. Okay. So these are the top 4 questions which can really help you for native and web. So the question you need to ask yourself is, am I targeting apps for consumers or internal organization? If it's for mass consumers, and if you want to have maximum touch points, you go for both native and web. And does my application meet device level capabilities? If yes, that means you need to actually build a native application until HTML5 matures to the extent where it can support all of the device level features. And then you have does my application need offline capabilities, which is like you want to store the data on the mobile phone itself. So there are a lot of applications which stores local data on the device, so you can shut off the internet and still be able to play with the application and the data. And keep an eye and watch on HTML5 where it's going. That can essentially help you decide a lot, because if all of these features, device level features, are accessible on HTML5 at one point or the other, then you may not want to build the application on both platforms. So that's on the native versus mobile stuff. And the next topic is the usability. I'll quickly run through this in the interest of time. The mobile-friendly site, right? Still, you would see a lot of organizations haven't built a site which is mobile-friendly. The same page which is displayed on a PC is accessible on the mobile phone. Assume trying to access a web page which is made for PC on an Android, you'll just get tired of pinching in and pinching out the data there. Because you'll have to zoom in and zoom out to actually see what's happening. So just to give you a quick case study, here's Vegas.com. This was the site which was accessed by mobile users. They had like 7% hit rate site traffic from mobile coming in, and they were all accessing this page, and their analytics showed that almost 50% of the people actually bounced back, which is they did not stay on the site when they accessed it through the mobile, not more than a minute or two, and they immediately used to come out of it because it's very hard to use. And then they strategically developed a mobile site like this, and that reduced the bounce rate by almost 22%, increased the page views by 16%, and the conversion rate was 4% higher than before. When I say conversion rate, it's about user getting in and trying to book a hotel and then coming out of the site. So you have users who are actually doing transactions on the mobile. The second aspect which you need to be very aware on the usability factor, which in my sense is one of the most critical part of building a mobile application. It can really break or make your application, is keeping the application very, very simple. Don't clutter them with a lot of features. Don't try to put everything what you like about your current PC website. Try to get only the most important features which you think will be maximum used by the end users, and don't put too many features on a single screen, and try to keep the design very simple, elegant, and have good graphics which are very appealing. And this is another screen which we worked on. This is a different form factor altogether, a different size, but still you can see here that we are trying to show the demographics of a patient with body temperatures and blood pressures, and you can see how the data is cleanly organized here with different charts and stuff. And there's another one which is showing the mortality rate of different regions, and you see the graph below. You really, it's so intuitive. The moment you see that, you want to like swipe over and just click one of them, and automatically the graph changes accordingly. And the next aspect of usability is the usage pattern, right? People have been using iPhones and Android for a while, and they have recognized the way of working in these devices. So you make sure that you do not go against this usage pattern most of the time, because users have a preconceived notion about how certain things would work. You show them a plus sign on iPhone, they immediately think that you're going to add a new item there. And in a list view, in most of the cases, if you look at the application, if you're an avid user of iPhone, you swipe your fingers to the left, and automatically you see a delete button as what you see here. And then you see these batches out here, the 1 and the 16. These are notifications which the application is trying to give you messages. So there are 16 messages in my App Store and 1 message in my Christmas Zoo app. So you don't try to use the same feature for doing something else. These are essentially batches used for notification, and you try to exploit the fact that exploit the same usage pattern what is being used right now by the user, and make the application flow very simple. The navigation has to be very, very simple. Do not try to give multiple navigations to reach the similar kind of a feature, because that's actually going to confuse the user. And the UI for different platform. This is one of the case study of Taco Bell, wherein they're trying to give a different screen for different platform, one being the iPhone, the other being the BlackBerry. The iPhone has a touch capability, so they actually put square boxes which are much bigger, so that when your finger point touches it, it does not touch the other button on the side. But if you try to give the same screen to a BlackBerry user who does not have the touch capability, they essentially have to maneuver with 4 buttons, top, left, right, and the bottom, which is not a great thing. You usually want just 2 buttons up and down. So they actually came up with this screen, so where you can actually scroll down the scroll locator, menu, and nutrition info and stuff. And this is basically rendering a different UI for different platform. And this is one of the usability factor as well. And never try to use the standard buttons which are already there in application, and each of this means something to the user. Don't try to use them for different purposes. And this essentially means here that it's going to refresh the screen. This means it's going to delete it, and this means it's going to create a new item here. And these are date controls and essentially used for entering the dates or say date of birth, and the tabs for on and off. So these are standard controls, and the users all know how they work. You don't even have to give a description out there. It's so intuitive. So just go with the flow of that and make sure that all the UI is consistent with these similar looking buttons. And one of the things which you can use to figure out how your usability is the mobile analytics. You can have any of these three pretty good ones. And if you have these analytics, you can measure data of how long a user is staying on a particular screen or a particular workflow, when are they coming out, which will give you a good hang of like, why the user is not navigating till the end. It may not be always a usability issue, but this just one other way of figuring out. So, and the most important, the people involved. Who are the people who can be helpful in building UI for the mobile, or the current designers and UX who are contributing on the website of it? Can they be used for the mobile part of it? At the outset, I would recommend no, because it needs a lot of experience working with the mobile applications, knowing the form factors and how each of these usage patterns work. But if you really want to use your existing resources in trying to build the UI for mobile, then my recommendation would be to give them enough time so that they can ramp up on the mobile phone. They can install multiple applications on iPhones and Androids and BlackBerry. Try to play around with that and see how they essentially work, because there's a lot of difference in that one, and you may burn your fingers trying to use a web designer to build a mobile UI. So that was all about the usability part of it. The next one is the enterprise mobile security. This is primarily not for the consumer users, but these are for mobile applications which are used within the organization. Example, say you have a sugar CRM system and you're trying to expose some of the functionalities on mobile phones, so your salesman can actually view that data on leads, on contacts, on prospects, on the sales pipe, right on the move using their mobile phones. So if you're trying to expose those APIs from your Sugar CRM system, you just want to make sure that all of the data which is actually moving around between the device and your servers is all secure, and only the registered mobiles are accessing your data or intranet-based applications. There are mobile security suites available in the market, like the Juniper or the Symantec or Motorola suite. You can try each one of them. They have a server component as well as the client-side component for the mobile. So once you install that, the server automatically takes care of pushing the patches to the mobile phone, and it also takes care of trying to find the lost mobile using GPS, or trying to deactivate a mobile whenever it's stolen. You just go to the server, ask the administrator to deactivate a mobile, and immediately you'll see that mobile phone is not able to access any of the details from your enterprise servers. And of course, you need to keep your users aware and provide them constant trainings on how to take backups and have the patches all updated. So that's high level on the enterprise mobile security part of it. I will now have Bill Walsh to give us some information on leveraging mobile as a growth channel. Bill, it's all yours.
Thanks, Vinod. Hi, everybody. I want to talk a little bit about mobile as a growth channel. Some people view mobile as another channel. Some people view it even deeper as an individual product. I tend to live in both worlds, but it's important to remember that depending on where you're at maturity-wise with your mobile programs, it's important to keep in mind that the the mobile user base and the mobile experience, the mobile website or any mobile app is not a smaller version or shrunk version of your .com site, and that's, you'd be surprised at how many people think that way within organizations. And your mobile users have especially with your smartphone user base, they have high expectations now. Like the note says, they've been using smartphones for 3 or 4 years now, and they know what an app is, and they know what a mobile website is, and they know what's a good experience, and they know what's a bad experience. So try and think about that in the back of your mind. And an important part of this is, especially with Fortune 500s, think beyond your own mobile properties. What does that mean? When you're developing, functionality for your website or developing special functionality for your mobile properties, think about the web services that that get created alongside that to create these special experiences, but also could be extended to other entities outside of your own mobile properties to really blow up your mobile presence. And the big thing here is innovate. That's one of the things we did at Walgreens. Find what your hook is, and really hone in on that. So Bernard shows here the Macy's application, for example. So it's using some of the core features, testing some of the core features like camera. So this is more of a visual search experience with Macy's, where you take a picture of an item, and it gets fed back into Macy's backend, and they present you with a result candidate list of like products, and from there there's a thread to commerce. So very cool, very useful experience. Next slide. So here's another example. This goes into barcode scanning. So you scan a barcode of a particular product, and you can get more relevant candidate returns, more specificity around a result. Again, with a thread to m-commerce and purchasing the product. Very cool, but very useful and relevant to the user. So the multi-channel strategy, you folks are smart. It's the bridge between online and if you have a brick and mortar presence. It's really that middle part, that crux that connects both these worlds. And it's important to have a consistent experience with these different channels online, at least in your brand and messaging and functionality. So it's really important to maintain that. Whatever your brand value is, to maintain that value on your online presence, on your mobile presence, and if you have a physical location presence as well. And again, I go back to the mobile hook. This is one thing that I found extremely valuable. You have to have a hook. Otherwise, you look at your competitors and you become a Me Too product. So, in the case of Walgreens, what we did is, we created this refill by scan feature that you see here. It's really innovative, and what it did is it saved time. It was a cool experience, really cool experience. It saved a ton of time for our, the Walgreens user base, our customer base, to refill a prescription from initiation to completion. It takes less than 5 seconds. And then it, from a store ops perspective, it helped them with their their pharmacy prescription, pharmacy wait times and wait lines and whatnot. So all three benefited. We benefited on the mobile side. Store operations benefit from a more elated customer base. They didn't have to wait in line. and it was a cool, really cool experience, and it really drove mobile adoption, and also it's a major revenue driver for the company now. So, just as important, and especially if you have, a physical presence, is location-based services. It's one of the key pillars of mobile. It's one of the key differentiators. It's not the key differentiator versus online presence or, obviously physical presence. But I would strongly recommend that you make this experience, stellar and very easy to use. It's done wonders. It's one of the top, for Walgreens. It's one of the top links hit at the web online and in mobile. So we wanted that experience to be really, really good. It's also a building block for, other unique functionalities. We get into augmented reality, mobile couponing, serving relevant coupons to, where you're at, this hyper-local trend that you see with search and couponing and deals. So, in the case of augmented reality, we're still, there's a handful of apps that do it. It's still early on with that, what the potential is. But, it's basically using your camera viewfinder to become a window to points of interest around you, this sort of ambient search, what's around me, what can I do, what can I buy, what can I see. And I would encourage you to check out some applications on the market today to get a feel for the experience. Layar is one of them, Layar. And there's another app from Yelp, and it's the monocle feature. It's pretty slick. But it gives you some indication of, where mobile is going. So tablet versus PC. I get this question a lot. What is a tablet? Is it a PC or is it a mobile device? Where does it live? In my experience, organizationally, it's lived under the mobile umbrella. And what you don't want to do is create a blown up version of your phone apps to render on an iPad or an Android tablet. Users will call this out. I get comments daily from our card member base. When am I getting an iPad app? They can certainly use the current Discover iPhone app, but when you blow it up to 2x on an iPad, things get distorted. It's not the ideal experience. But, so I would strongly encourage, as you're thinking about your strategy, and it depends where you're at in your mobile life cycle. Start out with the basics first. Get an HTML5 site up. Get an iPhone app up, an Android. Then, really consider iPad. Okay, organizational alignment. This is when we were setting up the topics for the presentation, I was telling Vinod that this is probably one of the biggest things to whether or not your mobile program is a success. Many of you are, C-level executives, and it's really up to you to help drive this and be a champion across the organization. And if you don't, it's not gonna thrive, and it's not gonna grow, and it'll just be sort of viewed as another channel or smaller version of online and not be as effective as it could be. I would suggest that you give it room to breathe. If you're just starting out, it's critical not to subject mobile to the same rigors and processes as maybe your more mature online programs. It really needs special attention. It needs that space to grow. And again, doubling up on Vinod's comments about resources and personnel, don't make the mistake of thinking that your PC designers and developers can convert to mobile. It's sort of like I play tennis, and people think I'm good at ping pong, and I'm not. So it's sort of like that relationship. It's a completely different discipline, and it's the same type of I don't know, cast you would throw over other resources like product management or mobile mobile marketing folks that have experience in this area. You might be hard pressed to find them, but if you can get a hold of them, they're worth the money. And again, it's a nice segue into my last bullet. Overspend. It's a new channel. It needs proper spending on resources, development. I guess my comment, just another comment with the organization. You need folks that have and yourselves and your folks that work in this mobile space need a lot of will. A lot of my time is spent internally selling different groups, different business groups within the company on the benefits of mobile. I spent almost a year and a half doing this at Walgreens, and finally there was a tipping point where all of a sudden the light goes off and everybody wants to help you out then. So it'll take some time though to get there. And once you have a mobile plan, as far as internal communications, that's key. That goes in line with the selling of mobile internally. That's the first question I get. Hey, what's our plans for mobile? Everyone knows that they need to be in mobile, but what's our specific plans? So sharing with them, having a level of transparency is important. And the more you share, the more you find that other groups and teams will start to involve mobile in their respective plans, which is fantastic. And I guess one of the ways that I've used mobile within organizations is to, show them how it positively impacts their specific group, either from a customer service savings perspective, marketing vehicle, a revenue driver, etc. That I found that to be the best approach with those folks, and not treat it as a separate entity, but something that could enrich their respective programs. And I know this is really tough to do too, is attempt to show the return on investment of mobile. This isn't exact science. Some folks look at it from a perspective of customer service savings, by diverting folks to the mobile channel instead. Some folks in retail have these formulas that can actually predict with some level of certainty the value of a download to their business over a 5-year period. And that's a very powerful tool when you're selling internally and trying to get marketing dollars and whatnot. Where's your best return on marketing? If I spend X amount on a email campaign or a TV ad, it'll result in X amount of downloads, and this is the value per download. So again, this is not exact science. I would strongly recommend that you try and create that return or that ROI model for your businesses. Next slide. Yeah. So again, with the theme of organizational buy-in, folks are probably creating prototypes and case studies to show to senior level executives like yourselves. I think I found that very effective with creating a visual path of where you're taking the mobile product line and what it can be. So it's valuable to have this type of support and getting the executives to actually use the applications on a regular basis for their feedback. And it's also valuable, obviously, to share with the larger organization. Employees, colleagues get really excited when you show them something cool and unique and something that appeals to them. They're also mobile users themselves. I can't tell you how many times I get pinged a day by folks not on my team, but they're heavy mobile users, and everyone has an opinion. So it's great to get them excited. And what I found, in my experience, that there's for this element of resistance, and you guys can help break that resistance down. There's a prove yourself mentality that I found in larger organizations. Why why should we even do mobile? It will take some time to convert, and persistence and will, and having the staff that have these attributes are key. Almost like Teflon, you need folks with that type of mentality. And as far as the vendor selection, or if you're going that route, if you don't have the talent inside your organization, there really isn't a one-stop shop formula. There's lots of, I get pinged by lots of agencies that come in and can do, that tout their one-stop for marketing and consulting services and development. I think, just on my experience, different vendors have really different competencies. Some have competencies in native app, and even more granular, some have really good competencies in iPhone or Android or BlackBerry or even mobile web. So I would encourage you folks to vet out these different vendors and get a sense for what they can provide you, and be leery of one-shop agencies. So I think that's about it, Vinod.
Thanks, Bill. So we have gone through the 5 important aspects which you need to know for mobile enabling, and the question is what do we do next? How do we go forward with this? And here are the clear next steps which I'm going to put forward. How you should go about it, and try to come up with a plan for your mobile. The first phase of that would be the discovery phase, where you come up with the objective of going mobile. What are you trying to achieve out of enabling mobile enablement, and who are your targeted users? What kind of ROI are you trying to expect from this whole exercise? And you also need to analyze the current systems and the different mobile platforms you want to target for. And you have, and of course you need to collect the information for these analysis, which typically may take around 2 days time. And once you finalize on the platforms and the devices you want to focus for, and once you're clear about the objectives, you need to come up with your top features which you want to build on your mobile, triage them with your functional team, and come up with 4 to 5 features and high-level workflows for them, which typically may take around 5 days of time, depending on the size of the features as well. And once you have that list of top features which you want to build on your mobile website or mobile app, all you need is a technical feasibility. Sometime it may be very apparent and you may be very clear how exactly to go about it, and you may not perceive any technical challenges. But then at times, if you have it, you will have to run through a technical feasibility there, and check if some of the features will be supported on web or not, or do you want to try out on native? Do you have, would the offline access work? How are the graphics going to work? Will I be able to provide the fastest search possible? So those kind of things, and also some questions on should I go with a framework or should I build from scratch? There are a lot of frameworks in the market like Sensha, Titanium, jQuery Mobile. Or you can build it from the scratch just using, say, if you're building an iPhone app, just using Xcode and Objective-C. So that would be the technical feasibility part of it. And we did recently a technical feasibility for one of our customers, which was building a document management system on a browser-based app, and this is what the study showed. So we took all the native browsers, and then we tested a lot of different features and saw what are the things working on which browsers. Some of them did not support opening of the PDF file on clicking on a URL. Some did. And so you come up with a feasibility study and basically they finalize which platforms, which browser versions your app is going to support. And once you're done, you pretty much write down your strategy of coming up with the broad level estimates for developing these features for each of these platforms, which will give you a broad tentative timeline and also the relevant budget. And once you're done with it, so I believe that you will have in your hand a tentative plan which will tell you what are the features you want to develop, which are the mobile platforms you want to go for, what is the overall time frame you're looking at, and how much it can cost you. And sometimes you may not be able to do all of this yourself if you do not have enough mobile expertise within your internal organization, both functional and technical. You may want to take help from external vendors who are specialized in mobile application development. And after this phase, if you really want to go for it and you are looking for an internal organization buy-in and stuff, you can go for a POC wherein you will have to develop the UI markups, which is going to be the most essential aspect of it, the look and feel of it, the usability aspects of it, where we think you can spend about 2 weeks time coming up with 10 to 12 UI markups, and then spend another 2 weeks building a couple of features on one single platform. So essentially we're looking for 4 to 5 weeks where you can do a quick proof of concept and showcase it to your management to get their buy-in, or also to actually just test out certain features which you are not comfortable with at the outset and want to do a proof of concept for it. So that's about the way you should go achieving your mobile roadmap and strategy. So that's all I have in terms of the presentation here.
So I think we're kind of a little bit short on time here. We've almost exhausted our time, but those of you who'd like to stay on, we can have a quick Q&A session here. So I'm opening up the chat for questions. Please feel free to put in your questions here, and as and when they come, I just route it to the presenters. Yeah, meanwhile, I'll just do a quick poll here. Those of you interested, please do send us your questions. We'll answer them live, or if we don't have more time, we will send you a PDF with the question and answers. I'm just going to do a quick poll. Those of you who can answer that, please do. That jumpstart your mobile initiatives. What would you start? What would you do? I'm just collating the questions over here. As some of you are voting, I just have one question right away for Bill. Bill, the question is, how did you get the Walgreens app to the top 3 of its category? So would you like to tell us what strategies you used? Or sure.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's a couple of ways to get up into the category. Number one, the best way to do it is if you have a good enough app, if Apple promotes it itself. So if it shows up in new and noteworthy section, or a featured app within Apple, that's the best way to spike downloads. Outside of that, we did with Walgreens, they did a lot of email campaigns, which has a domino effect. It bumps you up into that lifestyle category that for Walgreens, that's where it lies right now. And once you elevate to the top 10 of any given category, it becomes self-fulfilling. Then people just start downloading. They go to the top apps in whatever category that they're interested in. They do a quick scan and see the top 10 and download. So it really is a snowball effect.
Great. Okay. Vinod, we have another question here. So, how much does it take approximately to develop, let's say, a retail app like JCPenney's or Macy's?
Well, those are larger mobile roadmaps, and they are targeting for multiple platforms, at least 5 to 6 different platforms, and they are usually done in sequence with a little bit of overlapping. And those are larger programs which can run for over a year, and then cost. I mean, like the initial cost can be well over $500,000 to $600,000, and can reach up to 1.5 mil to 2 mil to accommodate all the different platforms and all the features, and also features specific to mobile, different innovative features of scanning products, trying to fill up your carts. When you're shopping in say one of these stores, you can actually scan all the products, and that adds to the cart, and you go to the point of sale, and they just do a single scan, and automatically all these products gets added up to the invoice. So I'm talking about including all these innovative features and stuff. It can cost between 1.5 to 2 million for these large roadmaps.
Okay, thanks, Vinod. And folks, I'd just like to thank you all for attending this. It was great having you here, and we had a great attendance today. Thanks, everyone. We'll be sending you the recorded version in a couple of days' time. And we look forward to more of your questions. We've got more questions. I'll collate them. And as we don't have much more time today, we've exhausted our time. We'll just wind up the session now. And any further questions, please do send to us. We would respond to you. Thanks everybody. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Vinod.
Thanks, William and Vinod. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.